Hey y'all, I'm Krista and welcome back to my channel. Have you ever been feeling like you are left behind, that something's maybe a little bit off because you haven't did this and you haven't did that, and every time you turn around it looks like everybody else is winning and hitting these goals that you had wished for yourself except for you, and you're feeling like, dang, I'm a little bit left behind. Well, the truth of the matter is when you're looking at everybody else's milestones, the different things that they're hitting, whether that is like getting married, buying houses, graduating college, having babies, start business, you name it, the list can go on and on and on. And then you're sitting back looking at your own life like, all right, I had thought that I would have accomplished that by now, or I thought that would have happened for me by now. Look at them. I mean, and I started at that company before they did, and look how their career is progressing, and all of these different things that you'll start looking at, and you'll start feeling down about yourself like, what did I miss? Or if I would have made this choice, if I would have did this and I would have did that, you just start going down this spiraling on down basically. And then on top of that, if you look at social media will have you thinking everybody's winning except for you. Look, everybody's timeline is not the same. When somebody else accomplishes something or achieves a particular goal doesn't mean that just because you guys are the same age or similar in age or in experiences that you're supposed to have achieved that or accomplished that to yourself. A lot of times we're taking on what society has said we should have done by this particular time instead of looking at our own individual lives and deciding what's right for us and what dreams and goals and so forth do we really truly want for ourselves, that will help us achieve our short and our long term goals. And sometimes we're assuming that, like because it hasn't happened yet, that it's not going to happen. And that's not necessarily the truth, because the matter is what God has appointed for you is going to be for you. So it doesn't make a difference if somebody else is achieving this or they got this and they got that. Can't nobody else take what is belongs and destined for you. Some of the things that you have been hoping for, been praying for, and expecting in your life, it is a matter of it's not that they will not happen. They haven't happened yet. And if you have already would have achieved them, you may have not have been able to sustain that because you weren't prepared for it for whatever reason. And I truly believe that what the goals that you have set for your life and they're aligned with God's word, then it doesn't make a difference how much time has gone by. It will come into fruition no matter what. A lot of the times when you are looking at what somebody else has accomplished in comparison to what it is that you've accomplished, you're just setting yourself up for failure. And a lot of times, if you think about it, is when you're looking at people's successes, especially those that you see on social media, the reality is that you're just looking at their reel, their highlight, their short, their little snippet of that particular moment in their life. And it's not necessarily means the reality. It doesn't mean that they didn't actually accomplish or have those experiences. But what you don't get to see is all of the things, the sacrifices, the sleepless nights, the cries, all of the tears that they shed, the arguments that they had to achieve that level of success. I know sometimes people, when I look at Wes and I in our relationship right now, and they're just like, oh, hashtag relationship goals or black love and stuff like that. And it's like, ooh, if you only knew what it took for us to get here and all of the hurdles that we had to overcome for us to be in this happy place, for you, it may not have been worth it. And so, a lot of times when we're looking at social media and seeing other people's successes and we're feeling behind because we haven't achieved XYZ yet, it is when we're looking at it through an incorrect lens, a lens of not even realizing what somebody else may have had to go through in order to achieve or be where they're at, or also just making the assumption that what they've achieved or where they're at is also the same place that you're supposed to be at too. You're an individual, and even though we all have so many similarities, the truth of the matter is that you have your own individualized goal and time frame to achieve that. There may be some lessons that you needed to learn along the way so that you would be properly prepared to have that, be gracious and be grateful for that when it came along, and then being able to maintain it. So if you find yourself in that vicious cycle of comparing yourself to others and the things that they've achieved and milestones that they've hit that you wanted for yourself that you are yet to receive, especially if you're looking at that from, on social media aspect of it, just keep in mind that what you are potentially comparing your experiences and your lack of experiences to is someone's edited moment in their life. I mean, there's a lot of edits that go on the back end for them to even, for most of the time, for them to even post that particular thing, or they're putting the highlights, they're putting the all of the great things that they've experienced in their life, and not necessarily all of the messy middles and all the behind the scenes stuff that goes on, that really shows you that it wasn't just so easy and then they've arrived type of thing. And if you're feeling stuck, that's okay. Feeling stuck doesn't mean that you're failing. It just means that that's just a moment that you're experiencing, and it's go ahead and get yourself up out of that. You have the ability to do that, because what you may be thinking is like, oh, you've missed an opportunity. Maybe just a moment where God was asking you to slow down and not giving you that moment and that experience as of yet, because he was protecting you from something, maybe maturing you or rerouting you, guiding you to a different direction. Everything that you experience and that you don't experience doesn't mean that it's a failure. Sometimes you look at, I wanted to be here by now. I thought I would have achieved this, but you could have lost your mind. Some people that you thought would have been walking with you and they walked out on you for whatever reason. Those may have just been seasonal people that were there. They weren't supposed to be your lifers that were going to spend the rest of their life with you and having those experiences. It's sad, it hurts, and all of those things, but it doesn't mean that you're not on the right path or that you've missed an opportunity. I feel like that sometimes lies of the enemies as well. So if you're at the point where you are just feeling like, yeah, I hear you, but I feel like I'm just left behind. I mean, life keeps passing me by. I haven't achieved nearly half of the things that I thought that I would have achieved, whether it was through your own choices, your own decisions, or life circumstances that have prevented you from that. It doesn't mean that it's too late. And the first thing that I say that you could go ahead and do to kind of help get yourself out of that funk of like feeling like you haven't achieved what you were supposed to achieve, or you're behind, no matter what age you're at, is just to take a small step and recognize where you're at right now. Think about, right, not only just recognize, but honor where you're at right now. I mean, be grateful for the place that you're in, because ultimately, even if you're not where you want to be, most of us are pretty happy that we're not where we were or who we used to be. So honor the place that you're at currently in your life. Give respect to that, show appreciative of that, of all that you have achieved. Sometimes we get so caught up on what we haven't achieved that we don't even give ourselves credit for all of the things that we have achieved or overcome, because when you've overcome some stuff, that in itself is a success. So give yourself credit for that and honor that place that you're in, even if it's not where your long-term goals are, or in the short term or the long term, but it's still a nice place to be. So honor where you're at is the first thing that I would say is a good step to help getting you out of the feeling I'm feeling left behind type of mode. And then the next thing is remind yourself what your goals are, your short term and your long term goals. So if you have a 5-year goal, take small steps to achieve that. And so sometimes your 5-year goal may be really, really big, which is great because you should be dreaming big. We want dream bigger than what you can even imagine for your life. But then when you're looking at how are you going to achieve that, that in itself can be very overwhelming. So if you have a 5-year goal, I'm just giving this as an example. If you got a 5-year goal, okay, break it down to yearly. So what do I need to do each year in order to make that 5-year goal happen? And then if that's still too much for you, then you say, okay, well, now that I got my yearly goal to make my 5-year goal happen, how do I break that down even further? Break it into quarters. And if you need to, break it down monthly to weekly to help you achieve that. And then as you accomplish each of those small steps that are going to help you get to your big step, celebrate that. Congratulate yourself on the small steps, even though you're like, okay, I'm still a way away from the goal that I'm trying to achieve. Still give yourself credit for where you're at and for all of those small wins and those small successes, because that makes a difference in your growth and you pursuing what it is that you're looking to achieve. And my last little piece of advice, tip that I would give you to help you get out of the feeling left behind little funk that you may be in, is to surround yourself with the right people, with the voices that speak life into you. And not only the people that speak life into you, but that regularly speak life into themselves. Not that they're unrealistically happy go lucky type of people, but they're also people who that, even though what the reality of things going wrong and things always happening and stuff like that, they still also know that we serve a mighty, mighty God who is capable of any and everything. And that if we continue to put our faith in Him and move forward, things are going to be happening as long as it's aligned with God's word. So you want people around you that speak life into you and that speak life into themselves and just have more of an optimistic attitude, because being around the wrong people will truly have you convincing that everything is going wrong, that you've missed your opportunity, and that you are truly behind. But right now, what you might be is just a season where you're continually healing and developing and growing into who you're supposed to be. So being around the people and listening to the right voices is very important. You want to surround yourself with people that have achieved some of the things that you're looking to achieve. Have them be your unofficial mentors and stuff like that, and put yourself in different environments. If there's something that you're looking to achieve and no one that you know has experienced that or know that, then we live in the world of technology. There's always a way to get more information about the things that you're looking to achieve, finding different ways, and surround yourself with those people. Hopefully it's in person, on the phone, someone that you can actually talk to. But also, you do have the internet. There's all these different type of videos that you can watch. There can be get involved in your church and things like that, because there are people that you may not know that know the right people. So it's about just staying connected to individuals, making sure that you're speaking life into yourself, and you have other people that when you are feeling discouraged and feeling behind, they can remind you that you're right where you need to be in order to keep pushing along, and then help elevate you and lift you up to the next level as well. Well, if anything in this video encouraged you today, go ahead and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss anything going forward, and I'll see you soon.